Holy cow, THL. What's happening? We are actually live. Sorry about the lateness. We are actually a full team tonight, which is cool. Icon, you're back. You missed last week. We're glad to have you back. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Pretty good, thanks. Happy to be here, man. Hope you're doing well.
It's better. It's better. Lotus, how about you? Glad to have you back as always.
Glad to be back. Thank you for having me as usual, Donde.
As always, man. It's good to be a whole crew again. Um, I will say, as you might notice, the stream title is "Life is Crazy" because my life has been crazy this past week or so. So I apologize, as that all fed into the delay tonight. So my birthday was last week on Thursday, and I was woken up at 4:45 in the morning by a tree hitting my house.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Right above my bedroom. That was cool. So that started
Yeah.
one of the best birthdays you can imagine. And then going into the weekend, I was woken up Monday morning by my wife needing to go to the hospital at about 2:30 in the morning.
Aw,
So
she doing alright, man?
she's good. She's good now. She's good now. But it was a bit of a scary situation. So been a little busy. Didn't have as much time to prep things before today as normal. So that's why we were a little bit delayed. So I do apologize for that. Hope you guys will still enjoy the show nonetheless. But yeah, so as you can see, tonight we have a couple things as normal. We're going to talk about the player power rankings for Legacy and Hero. We're going to talk about the playoff races, which we are now closing in on the completed season for 3 of the 4 series, with Challenger just getting going. And we'll talk about Week 7, of course. That's for Legacy, Hero, and Pro, and then Week 2 of Challenger. And we're going to talk about BlizzCon. That's coming up this weekend, and kind of what our expectations are, or maybe not expectations, but our hopes and things that we would hope to see at BlizzCon this week. So, why don't we start with the power rankings? You guys want to do that?
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
good, because that's what I put first on the list. So I'd be a liar if we didn't start with that.
I will say they're still rigged.
They're still, hey, that's just not nice.
I want to see if you can go undefeated the entire season.
Well,
Yes.
let's not talk about that. Let's not. Let's start with Legacy, because that's maybe not as rigged. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
who knows? We'll start with the players in the honorable mentions and those who fell out of the top 10 or top 15 this past week. Which you should see in just a second. There it is. So the players that fell out of the top 15 were Copper Talon and Starlax. They're both 4-2. They were honorable mentions last week, so just outside the top 10. Matty Ebbs is still an honorable mention this past week. He did move up slightly, but just outside the top 10 at 5-1. Daravis with his idle week, he did not play this past week at 4-1 still. Myanodon and Itachi are newcomers to the honorable mention list, and Mr. Shads dropped all the way from 3 to honorable mention because of a DQ loss this week. So before we jump into the top 10, any of those players that you want to talk about or anything that seems out of whack there, Icon, I'll let you lead.
Daravis is going to get back up into the absolute reaches of the top 10. He, losing is not something that he usually does, and I expect to see him pretty soon back in the top 5 with a couple more weeks.
With 2 weeks to go, including this week in Legacy, of course. Lotus Knight, any thoughts here before we move on to top 10?
I think I expect Daravis to be back. I expect Itachi to grow a lot. He's been playing really well. Our team has been growing, and I feel like this will be a good week. Also, since Shad's left because of a DQ, I'll say, just as a reminder, make sure you don't DQ. It's bad for both sides.
Yeah, I agree with that. Not only that, in terms of the power rankings, it's the single most damaging thing as far as your power ranking is concerned. And no greater evidence than that he dropped 12 spots just by not playing this week and taking a DQ loss. But not only that, we are a fun series format.
Yes.
So we want to play. Everyone wants to play. So let's, as always, do our best to try and get the matches in. Life happens. We totally get it, but it's fun. It's fun to play. It's more fun to play than a DQ. So yeah, let's do it. So let's talk about the top 10. We have not too many not right at the top anyway. A shake up with Comp still being 6-0, so the only remaining 6-0 player now. But Honest Dave is still undefeated. He did not play this past week, so he's kind of sitting down there at 9 at 5-0 instead. But we got a couple players who shifted around a little bit up top. Dano moves up from 5 to 2. Icicle's a slight jump from 4 to 3. Both are 5-1. Cat. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Catman. He's 6-0 as well. My bad, Catman. Still looking for that signature win this season at 18-9. He jumped from 6 to 4. Our hat with the drop from 2 to 5 with his loss this past week. Everybody else moving up slightly. Super Murloc 8 to 6. Force of Will up from 9 to 7. And then Avi and Shimjim were both honorable mentions and moved into the top 10. Shimjim did drop out of the top 10 last week and came right back. So he's been hanging around that top 10 all season as well. So I know I guess the point of contention has been Catman not being one or two at 6-0, but really we're now getting into the strength of schedule portion of the season where it does actually start to make more of an impact. Even Jammies would admit that. Rip Jammies as a HearthCenter member, I guess. But
True.
Lotus Knight, what do you think about the top 10 here? Anything that you would do differently, or what do you like about it?
So there are a few changes I would make. I think overall this is a good top 10. I think our hat is a bit high. I faced him this week, and I actually surprisingly beat him. I didn't think I was going to, but it was a tight match. I feel like Avi is having a better season, though. I would probably have moved Avi and Shimjim a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely tight between that 6 to 10 group, all in the 5-1, 5-0 range. So I can definitely understand the argument for that. And Hat taking just the small tumble with the loss last week, it wasn't enough to really drop him too hard. So I can understand that.
Right.
Icon, what do you think here?
I think that most of these look pretty good. Hat stands out to me as a little bit of a question mark. I think that he could be somewhere around 8th or 9th, and I could see actually Force of Will being moved up near Dano, because I think Dano and Force of Will have had similar experiences with going from sort of the 4 seed area all the way up, and I think that we're seeing that now in Comp. Comp is increasing his PR as much as he possibly can. He began as like a 250 PR 4 seed, and he is now 400 PR and in the 2 seed. He's doing a smear this season, and he doesn't really look like he's showing any signs of stopping, especially with an 18-3 game win rate. And so unless thank goodness that his team's 1 seed is 550 capped, because otherwise he could have gone to 550 himself and just went from the 4 to the 1 in one whole sitting. So I think that Dano and Comp are really impressive, sort of having their, in Dano's case, his start in THL, and in Comp's case, his return to THL, being very successful.
Yeah, I would say good points there. Comp, obviously a front runner for comeback player of the season, and Dano certainly rookie of the year. So those are 2 players to continue to watch as we move along. I will say to Hat's credit, and this is something that Lotus you have brought up as we've progressed through the season, that the gold 1 seed landscape is very strong, and Hat actually has the 3rd hardest strength of schedule so far, which is contributing into his 5th ranking. He's tied for 3rd strongest, I should say. So that does hopefully explain that a little bit based on who he has played so far. And you said you played him, was that right? I think
Yeah, we played this week.
Oh, you play this week?
We played. Oh, we played on Sunday.
Oh, for last week you mean? Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant this upcoming week, and I was like, wow, you're really getting that game in there early, huh? But,
no. I'm glad this week, though. We'll talk about this week later. But yeah, we played. It was a very good match. Hat is a great player. I feel like we both gave our best, and it ended up coming down to the final match. My Paladin beat his Rogue.
Yeah, I've had 1 crack at Hat in Legacy, and he swept me. So that was yeah. It was I want to say 2 seasons ago, and he just straight up aggroed me, and I was like, cool, that's not fun. So it was not a great experience for me.
He has swept multiple players.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's all right.
Yeah.
So we have some, hero power rankings as well to talk about. So let's go ahead and look at those. We'll start again with the honorable mentions and those who fell out of the top 15. So our unfortunate departures from the top 15 to Sharmo, who jumped from unranked to 8, fell back out. Typical Tyrant, who had slid down now the last 2 weeks, went from 10 to out. Blue Spartan and Lotus, unfortunately, you also fell out this past week as both honorable mentions into, the just outside the top 15 range. 8-Bit fell from 5th to an honorable mention, and Sanguine and Shiny Pants are sticking tight in that just outside the top 10 range. Itachi and Copper Talon now just outside the top 10. They were not ranked last week either. So now that's making Itachi show up in both honorable mention list. And Copper Talon, I believe, he just fell out. Did we talk about him? He just fell out of the Legacy, so he's right around the top 15 as well. So both of them having fantastic seasons. Anything you like to talk about here, Lotus?
Aside
from
I think I'm going to say that. No, my main focus actually, Itachi is having a great season. He went with the strategy that Itachi is clearly a 1. He could be playing the 1 seed fine, no difficulties there. But he decided to go with 2 550 players as their 1 seeds in both of his teams. So he's reaping the fruits out of that, and it's working really well for him.
Definitely. Icon, what do you think?
So I think that both of the Sanguine and Shiny Pants places and the honorable mentions are really cool to see because both of them are actually from the same team, and I think it's cool to see sort of team members finding strategies that work for them both at the same time. I may be a little biased because I coach Sawdude, which is Snake's team that Sanguine and Shiny Pants both come from, but I watch Sanguine put in an incredible amount of work into prepping every week, and she actually beat Lawful Dog, I believe, recently. So
yes.
Definitely that's a really big win if you're a rookie and something that you should be really proud of. So I'm happy for her.
Yeah, another strong candidate for Rookie of the Season in Hero, and even team, new team. I would be hard pressed to say anybody's beating them right now. As we'll talk about the Hero playoff race in a little bit, but they are currently in second in that division or conference, I should say, which is a great position right now with 2 weeks to go.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So let's talk top 10. I don't have a song prepared this week. So I apologize if anyone had expectations, but
do you want me to just beatbox while you're putting it down?
I mean, if you really want to, if not, I mean, I can probably come up with something on the fly. But
it's up.
It's no, I know it's up now. Thank you, Icon. But not a lot of surprises here. Avi jumps into the top 10. He was unranked. He's 4-2. Jammies suffered his second consecutive loss, and now he's taken that fall all the way from 2 to 9. Ron Mexico is his first appearance in the top 10. He was an honorable mention last week, and now he's ranked 8. Mechathune Boys is now in the top 10 too. He's ranked 7. He's 4-2, 15-8. He's got a strong schedule so far, which is contributing to his jump. Snake with the jump from 9 to 6. Anfall slipped down 4 to 5, even though he won, but Twos had the slightly better game score and now passes him up into the 4 slot. Omzi still 6-0. Mr. Shads had a very big win this past week, which moved him up from 7 to 2, and Chaboy still 6-0. So that's fun. I like that. I guess. I mean, we talked about this last week, Lotus. I don't like to talk about myself. When it comes to the rankings, like I feel that there's just no way that I can evaluate myself appropriately.
Right.
So I won't even attempt to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Icon, you can evaluate me if you want.
Dude, I can absolutely evaluate you. Alright, so the way to think of the notorious BAGs right now is a rocket ship. And now, people say that rocket science is incredibly complicated, but rocket science is actually one of the simplest possible contraptions ever invented. It's literally for lack of more scientific training, it is a engine that pushes fuel, that uses fuel to create thrust, and that is all that it is. Now, Donde is the top part of the rocket, the part that is necessary to go into atmosphere. Jammies is the staging part of the rocket, and so if you've ever shot a model rocket, of which I literally did once and pretended to build it while my Boy Scout friends did it for me, you basically reach atmosphere, and then parts of the rocket break off and allow the other rocket to soar into the stratosphere. And I think that's what Jammies is doing with Donde right now. Donde is going to reach heights untold, and Jammies is going to help boost him up there. So that's what's going on with BIGs right now.
Halfway through, and I'm so happy that analogy exactly worked out the way.
You got it.
As Avi pointed, I was getting carried. Jammies pushed me up, and he's like, "No,
yep, exactly.
Please go into the stratosphere."
And the analogy is complete, yes.
But let's not discount Anfall, who's also part of that rocket.
Oh my god, yeah, actually, yo, Anfall is on your team. Wait, what the hell? Yeah. Yo, dude. Oh my god, there's so many pieces of this, like, multiple stage rocket, dude. And, I mean, wow, okay, it's, I'm pretty sure that's what they call a 3-stage in NASA, assuming that it doesn't get defunded in, like, the next 5 years. Yeah, dude, that's really cool to see. I mean, my analogy sort of taps out when I realize that Anfall is actually on that team. But
I still want to see how far you could take it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Lotus, do you have any opinions on anyone that's just basically not on BIGs? Because I'm sure chat really doesn't care about me pumping up my own team.
As always, I'm going to shout out to Choose, who's having a great season. Choose is carrying our good boys. And yeah, I think he's doing a great job. Other than that, I think Avi's having a great season. I expect him to. Well, we're playing each other this week, so that will be interesting.
Oh, definitely. Big game.
Yeah, and I'm expecting this to be overall a pretty good state of affairs looking into the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're obviously reaching the end of the regular season, so these matchups are very important across the board, no matter who you're playing. If you're
right
in the playoff hunt, which pretty much every team, almost with only very few exceptions, are in the hunt at this point, every match is super, super critical. So it'll be interesting to see how the last few weeks play out in Hero Pro, which we will talk about shortly. But before we move on to the playoff races, as you guys know, BlizzCon is this week, which will, I'm sure, have a Hearthstone expansion announcement, which is cool. We all love to continuously spend money and dust on this game, and yay! It's fun to open like 4 legendaries and 100 packs. So, what I want to talk about, kind of what your expectations are for like what you think they might announce. Do you have a guess at what the expansion might be? Lotus, I'll start with you.
So, there's a lot going on. First of all, I hope they announce nerfs before BlizzCon. I would love to nerf something. In my opinion, just Mogu.
You don't care what, just nerf everything.
Does it rhyme with Blommen? Because that needs to be nerfed somewhat hard right now.
I feel like if you nerf Mogu and Desert Hair, you're okay.
I mean, I guess, like, Mutate, at least when it hits Mogu, it's a single target. Evolve being added back is broken.
I mean, the mana cheat is fundamentally really, really broken in Hearthstone, right? Especially mana cheat that interacts with wide boards of minions, and the ability from Mogu to be cheated out in aggro mirrors or as a control deck versus an aggro deck as early as something like turn 3 or 4 to create an 8-drop on turn 3 or 4 is fundamentally not super healthy for the game, because the game's removal is just not designed on having removal for 8-drops around turn 3 or 4. And I think that Mogu Flesh Shaper being nerfed would be really, really good for that. Also, making Desert Hair 1 mana minions instead of 3 would be a great nerf.
Yes. I think those two are basically needed right now if we want to keep, especially if we want to keep Evolve around. I think Mogu should be nerfed regardless. And I would also send Amit to the fire just a little bit, like just 1 mana to tune Combo Priest a bit.
Yeah, Combo Priest obviously has been around since, the dawn of time at this point, and it doesn't seem like they're too keen on even nerfing Divine Spirit or Inner Fire for that matter. So Ahmet would probably be the natural pick if that deck was going to get hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I think nerfs are a possibility before BlizzCon or right around like the beginning of next week possibly. Hopefully it doesn't impact us too much. I guess I mean if it does hit, it's going to hit before playoffs will hit. So
Yeah.
that would be the second meta shift in the season, which is kind of interesting.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm necessarily looking forward to that because I feel like we're kind of finding the groove a little bit at this point again. After going to the second week, is BlizzCon giving us a new legendary? Shoot, I do not know.
No,
It is.
BlizzCon's giving you a free golden legendary. That is, I don't believe that that's the same thing
was-
as a new legendary.
I knew that
There was a
introducing.
new, right?
They might be introduced. Well, they're introducing I think a few cards for the next expansion, but I do not know if they're doing like a snip snap style addition
Yeah,
to the
like
meta.
a Cthulhu or something
I
like that.
thought they were.
It seems unlikely based
Huh.
on the fact that they just gave us like a bunch of new old cards to play with. But hey, that would be kind of cool if it did happen.
They might be trying to like simp really hard because Hong Kong is happening, and they want to like try to make us forget with like in-game rewards. I actually like that's not a meme. Like I think that they would actually like do that in order to try to artificially generate some amount of goodwill from their Hearthstone base. I think that BlizzCon being a live event, especially around this sort of like political context, is going to be very, very, very interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
With the whole if either of you guys saw the NBA thing that went on the other day, where there was the kid that they put on the dance cam and he pulled out the thing that they thought was an NBA shirt and then he flipped it around and he said people are suffering in Hong Kong, free Hong Kong, and like started dancing. I think that you, if you're a cameraman or a media or somebody who covers media at BlizzCon, or somebody who's like a organizer at BlizzCon, I think you're definitely trying to be very, very careful with this sort of thing because there's definitely a lot of
Definitely. And
tense context around the whole
there's
thing.
no Hearthstone Q&A this year either. I think there wasn't last year, but yeah, so that's a part that was cut out, which I'm sure will help them manage what will inevitably happen at the convention this year.
Yeah. The question is how big it will be. I think that's one thing. But I do think a new expansion is going to be fun. It's going to also continue the story we've been presented this last two expansions. I'm guessing a big villain appears and kind of everyone unites to fight it.
Yeah, like you think so? I thought it was going to be like a Civil War sort of thing, like the heroes versus villains sort of thing that they talked about. People like theorized on Reddit during the beginning of the year.
I think it's either Civil Wars or it's all versus one.
All right, that's interesting.
For sure,
maybe Return of the Old Gods? Question mark? Maybe
could be Old Gods, could be Deathwing.
Tuz is saying that Hearthstone is literally in a basement of a separate building at BlizzCon this year. I haven't heard that, but it's kind of funny if it is, I guess. Sweaty WoW players. Hey, man, I keep my sweat in check, all right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, you gotta use that Old Spice high endurance. Old Spice, come at me with a sponsorship. So, jokes that didn't land. Let's go ahead and move on to the playoff races. What do you guys want to talk about first? Which series you want to talk about?
We'll go with the one that people care about most. We'll go with Legacy first, and then Hero, and then Pro.
I was gonna say Challenger.
Oh wait, is that a thing? Is they don't have that right?
Well,
yeah. Challenger.
We're week 2 of Challengers. A little too early to talk about the playoff.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Not really playoff, but yeah.
As we get closer to the end of that Swiss, which is only 4 weeks, we certainly will talk about it. But for right now, they're still, everyone's either 1-0 or 0-1. Little hard to theorize what might happen, especially since we don't really know a schedule. Since it's Swiss, everything kind of gets randomized every week. So we'll have to wait and see as we get closer to the end what will happen. So yeah, let's talk about Legacy. Got to bring that up for you guys. We'll start with Gold. So that's the first one I clicked on. So Gold is top heavy in the fact that the Wet Boys are currently a 20-point lead over the cutoff spot, with the round table comfortably behind at 99 points, the Stubbs at 96, and Prep at 94. So those are your current 4 playoff teams if the season ended right now. As you can see, the round table only 5 ahead, the Stubbs only 2 ahead of Prep, but then there is an 8-point drop all the way to Pod People. Abejas at 78 points is 16 out, and Vandergrift is 52 points out. So I think we can safely say mathematically that Vandergrift is eliminated at this point, since 23 points is the maximum that you can get in any given week. So they are mathematically eliminated at this point. Abejas has a hill to climb. They're going to have to make up 8 points a week over the next 2 weeks, and Pod People 4 points a week over the next 2 weeks. But I think those are both doable. I didn't put the schedule up here because we don't know who everyone's playing in Week 8 yet. As you guys may know, it is a crossover week, and wherever you are ranked is the team that you will play in the opposite conference. So that is going to be unknown until the end of this week. So, Wet Boys not mathematically guaranteed to make the playoffs, but I think that we can all agree across the 3 of us here that it would be a complete shock if they did not make the playoffs. So I ask you, Icon, I'll start with you here. Of the 5 teams that are not Wet Boys at Vandegrift, which 3 teams make the playoffs from here?
The ones that are currently in the playoffs running. It's literally just as you see here. Round Table is a much stronger team than that +5 would indicate. I think that they have an incredibly strong paper roster, and I think that they are going to continue to see success and make the number 2 playoff spot. I think the Stubbs have comp, if I'm correct. I think that's
yes.
Yeah, great. Well, then and therein lies why they're going to make playoffs. Comp and Shim Jim. Yep. The pair of those players, I think, is going to single-handedly carry them to playoffs, and then Prep is going to make it. I normally that would be like a more ridiculous statement, because I know that like Prep is supposed to be a meme or whatever, but like Force of Will is doing really well. For whatever reason, I seem to be doing all right, and Fuel is now winning again, and so I don't know. It just seems like a perfect storm to accidentally make playoffs.
As Avi pointed out, Prep hasn't yet played Wet Boys. They play them this week, which could give them a bit of a hit to their. As I don't think Wet Boys is.
I don't care.
I know. You're gonna rep your team, and I totally get that.
Oh no! I'm saying like realistically, even if I wasn't on Prep, I actually wouldn't care. Like I'll beat Jared Juggerlaw regardless of whether he's on Wet Boys or not. We're gonna make playoffs. Don't even worry about it, Avi. I am happy to give you guys the number 1 slot, but we'll see you there, my dude. Don't even worry about it.
Lotus, you go ahead.
Yeah, as for the round table, I think we're facing Vandergrift this week.
Yeah, you're making playoffs.
So we have 2 weeks, and we're finally. This is the first week that I'm not facing a 550 PR player. I'm so happy. Even Josen is a great guy, probably a great player, but still, I'm so happy it's not another 550. I'm so tired of it. Yeah, every match is high stakes.
It's a very tough landscape out there, as we mentioned before, and as you've brought up. I mean, any given week can happen, though, and I think Vandegrift, they are a collection of players who are now gaining more and more THL experience as we go along, and I think that you can't just count them out, necessarily because of the score. So,
well, mathematically, yes, they're out of the play.
You can count them out mathematically, but on a week-to-week, game-to-game basis, any one of them is certainly still capable of taking a series here, and they are 0-6 right now, but I would love to see them get a win before the season ends.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see their 1 seed not have my PR, but we can't all be. Sure. We can't all get what we want.
So Abejas has the unique. They're playing. Not only are they playing cross conference this week, they're obviously playing cross conference back-to-back weeks. So they've got a Noyo team across the way in the red conference. They're playing up just a little bit, as a Noyo team is currently a playoff team in red. The Stubbs versus Pod People this week is the interesting one, I think, because that's the one that's going to move the needle the hardest. If the Pod People will have any shot at making the playoffs, they need to come big against the Stubbs this week and take them down and out of that top 3. So I think that's really what we're going to see. kind of I think pace this group. And Stubbs is off to a 4-1 lead right now as Osmonaut has already defeated Wicked Goods. So that's not looking good for Pod People, but there are still 4 matches to go. Ridiculous Hat's going to need to get the job done against Shim Jim and Zeroshio against Comp, and if they can do that, then they take the week, and we are talking a completely different thing next week instead. But yeah, I have to agree for now. It looks like the 4 teams that are in are the 4 teams that will likely make it. I would say Abejas, I think, is more likely to make it than Pod People, based on their upcoming potential matchup in red, which should be on the easier side than some of those teams that are in that 2, 3, 4 range. So that's my prediction right now. I agree with you guys. I think it's the top 4 teams that stick. So why don't we talk red instead, which is vastly different than a lot of people projected for multiple reasons.
Let's play the here's how SPG can still win game.
No. Let's just pretend we don't exist. It's not as bad as you think, because Tap Last and Dad Legend are crushing right now. Tap Last at 107, Dad Legend at 105, 23 and 21 points ahead of 4th place respectively. So they are very, very good. In position to easily coast into the playoffs. A Noyo team is that ranked 3 team at 88 points and only 4 points ahead of DMB. And SPG 9 points down, Hearthstone and Chill 16 points down, the Misfits 33 points down. So Misfits for playoffs, woo. Mathematically, yes, Misfits for playoffs is a capable thing. But yeah, that's not where you would like to be with 2 weeks left. So Hearthstone and Chill in the same position as Abejas over in gold, 16 points out, 88 points a week. SPG is going to need 5 points a week to get there, and they are not having the best season. I'm saying they because I'm separating myself from them right now.
Oh right. When you win it's we and when you lose it's they. Yeah, I got this. The sports team thing. I got you.
It's like Sports 101, man.
That is fair.
You just gotta believe. Ron Mexico, if the Misfits make the playoffs, you guys can clip it. I will let Ron Mexico come on the show, and you can lead the entire show for the week if the Misfits make the playoffs.
Don't threaten me with a good time, dude. What the heck? He's selling Ron Mexico.
We might just have Ron Mexico anywye. That might just be fun.
Yeah. Like, oh no, we have to have Ron Mexico. Oh no, dang. Interesting content. Oh gosh.
And Avi does point out, Avi's like the showrunner here. He's pointing out all sorts of interesting stuff as we go along. So this is great. Misfits and Hearthstone and Chill are playing this week, which is very, very beneficial for, one of those teams, hopefully for Hearthstone and Chill, since they have the much better shot of making the playoffs. But if they can really separate themselves and get a boost up into that top 4 range, it could happen. SPG playing Tap Last this week, so good luck to us, because they have been they're 5-1, so they're just kind of rolling right now. And then DMB playing Dad Legend, and as you mentioned, a Noyo team is across the aisle to play Abejas. So a Noyo team has, I think, the inside track to stay in that top 3. DMB, I think DMB versus Dad Legend and SPG versus Tap Last could basically eliminate 2 teams if the matches go very poorly for the lower ranked teams.
Yeah, Tap Last could get eliminated by SPG, definitely. I definitely agree. That
Not what totally I meant. Happen. I meant that Tap Last can just grind us into dust, and if they take like 15 points, I think that we just basically lose our chance at the playoffs. So I hope that doesn't happen.
Then you don't even get the meme where you make it every time and then get eliminated in quarters.
But that didn't happen last season.
Okay, but all the other seasons, sample size.
So what you're saying is we ruined it by actually making the finals last season. We completely
we
botched the whole thing. Okay, so
you got to do one or the other. You got to turn it into like a make finals every time meme, or you got to like go back to the other one. You can't do neither and then just not make it. It's got to you got to pick one.
Can't we just win it? I would prefer that.
That would be nice, but I mean,
so
who knows?
Out of the, we'll throw Misfits in it too if you guys want to get saucy with it, but out of the 5 teams at the bottom, which 2 teams make the playoffs from here, do you think, Icon?
Which 2 teams? Ooh, a Noyo team and SPG.
Wow.
Actually. I don't say that. I don't say that to kiss up to you. I say that because I think that if I had to pick between DMB and SPG, and like both of them were sort of up against a wall and really needed to make like a serious playoff push and needed to like buckle down, I think at least just judging by what I've seen since all of SPG like were like my direct opponents as like a captain last season, like I think I would put more faith in SPG to like sort of overcome that hump a little bit more than I would DMB.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yup, I bet you do.
I sure do. Lotus,
I am thinking DMB makes it. I have to go the other way. I feel like SPG is not going to make it, Donde. I'm sorry.
Well, you're dead to me.
Nice.
I'm sick. No, I mean, like, I remain optimistic, obviously, and you know, we're gonna continue to prep. We're gonna do our thing, and hopefully it works out. But you know, it sucks when you dig yourself a hole that early in the season and have to just try to claw back the whole time. So. Yeah, hopefully Dad Legend helps us out and knocks DMB down a few pegs. Also, fun fact. So Coles is playing Icicles this week in Legacy. He's playing Icer in Hero, and I told him that he should contact Icy Finny to try to sub for his pro opponent. Well, he doesn't have a pro opponent. He's a sub into pro. I just wanted him to get iced across the entirety of THL. I just thought that was fun synergy there.
Well, should I quote Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Batman and Robin movie?
You sure may.
As he says, as Mr. Freeze, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Well, Coles has already been taking it on the chin like a dinosaur this season so far, eating a meteor. So he needs to get a W this week. He's 2-3 right now. So I have faith. You know, he's below 550 PR for the first time in a while. So hopefully he's hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, this is about Batman.
Batman and Robin is a horrible classic from the 90s.
Icons like why not Jared Leto?
Yeah, dude, like I actually like the only Batman movie that was like in when like I was growing up was like the Nolan verse, like Dark Knight. Like I'm too young to like remember anything else. So it's like
this is like... George Clooney as Batman. Oh, yeah. No one remembers this.
Whoa. Wow, that sounds like a meme. My gosh.
Oh, it was.
Rip Heath Ledger.
True. We live in a society.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about Hero, where I have a team that actually is good. No offense, SPG. We'll start with purple. There it is. All right, so BIGs, we're up by 40 right now, which is a pretty good spot. Dude is up by 17 over 4th place. ATL at 6, and the minute.
Oh my god, 40 points.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. I like it.
That's like twice Wet Boys, right? That's insane.
Yeah.
That's actually nuts, dude.
Ugly Mucklings is just 1 point out, so very, very close. Tan Pam's 10 and Monkeys in a Tree 21. So no team is truly dead, and BIG's is not mathematically guaranteed, but you know we would basically have to go goose egg for the rest of the season. So hopefully we don't do that. That would be great to avoid. So I would say, looking at what we got right there, you know, BIG is pretty confident we're in. Dude would have to have a pretty epic collapse to be out as well, but they're, you know, not guaranteed. But the race is real tight there between ATL, Minutemen, and Ugly Mucklings. Ugly Mucklings is a team that many had projected to be a contender. ATL, I think, got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, as many did not pick them to come out of this conference. But I mean, I'm not surprised. They're competitive every season, and they're a playoff team. Typically, they were in the finals previously last season. I guess we all did sleep on them. We probably should not have, because here they are in 3rd place. Icon, what do you think about this race right now, and who do you think makes it?
There's actually a really key thing about ATL that people aren't remembering. So ATL stands for Atlanta. If you don't speak like whatever the HearthStone acronym is, and so typically before that, they actually, because the Atlanta Hearthstone scene locally is just so strong and like filled with people that actually know each other IRL, that they had only pulled from people from their own local fireside team in order to make a team. And then when like a couple of those people took a break from Hearthstone for like a season or two, they went for lack of a better word, interstate, and they sort of said, if you identify with Atlantan way of life will take you. And as soon as they started doing that, they went from being like a completely irrelevant team to absolutely popping off. And stuff like that includes picking up Force of Will, picking up Binoculars, and recently their acquisition of Omzi, who is currently 6-0 in Hero Series. And so I think that a team building decision like that can really, really take them really far. And I'm glad that they decided to do that. I'm glad that they decided to sort of drop their pride a little bit, because they've had very consistent results as soon as they flip their decision making on that. And so I think that's a cool paradigm shift that they had, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah, Blue's a good roster builder. He's obviously a great player
Well,
too.
okay.
I mean, in the last few seasons, he's compiled rosters that have been winning rosters, and he has had players, that have kind of come out of the woodwork and been solid, like Omzi, 6-0. All of a sudden they're 1 seed this week, playing against Bigs, by the way, so that should be fun. But yeah, no, shout out to Blue Spartan. They're 4-2, and 3 of their players are 2-4, so they're winning a lot of really close weeks right now.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, yeah, so the upcoming schedule, while we're talking about their Notorious B.I.G.'s playing ATL, Dude is going across the conference to Ask HS, which is certainly advantageous timing for them. ATL, we already said ATL. Minutemen and Ugly Mucklings is a huge match this week, because that basically has a chance to decide outright which one of those teams make the playoffs. And then Tan Pams and Monkeys in a Tree are playing there down at the bottom. So, big week for Tan Pams too. They have a chance to if they can beat Monkeys in a Tree, pump themselves up into the discussion. So, if Biggs puts the hurt on ATL and they drop down, either Minutemen or Mucklings win decisively, you've got Tan Pams right in if they can beat Monkeys in a Tree, or even Monkeys in a Tree could be in it if they win over Tan Pams. They have a little bit more work to do. It has to be more decisive, but it is possible. So, Lotus, what do you think ends up happening here?
I think definitely the top 3 go in, and I think the next one to go in is going to be the Mucklings. I'm going to take the Muckling side in this one.
I think Minutemen have been picking up steam. I think we projected them to do really well at the outside of the season, and they kind of got off to a slow start. Since then,
because they have an Australian 1 seed who doesn't know how to show up for matches, and as soon as they fixed that, they actually got to where they were supposed to be as a team.
Well, Coles is now their 1 seed. I think he perm subbed.
Yeah.
So he went 0-1. He went 3-0'd. He got 3-0'd last week. He's 0-1 right now. So this is his first foray into Hero Series, I believe. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens. It's a different format.
That's true.
He's not a
they
bad
do
player.
have better.
He knows how to play.
Right. They do have better Donde now. So with better Donde, I expect them to do better.
What I was going to say is none of their players, aside from Coles, who's played only 1 week, has a losing record. Liquid Ox is 3-3, Salmon is 3-1, Mr. Newt's 3-3, and Jim Phillips is 3-3. So they're all capable players who have been winning their matches. Ugly Mucklings is almost an exact replica of that team. Icer 3-3, Lawful Dog 3-3, JR 3-3, The Chronic 3-3, and then Arthur now struggling at 1-5. So that's an interesting matchup. This literally could not be closer.
More of a coin flip, just everybody flips a coin, and then similar to Hearthstone, every team has a 50-50% chance of winning, and then the player that wins will just say that he outskilled the other guy. So I think that's definitely how the Minutemen versus Ugly Mucklings match is going to go.
If you want to take the coin flip analogy even further, aside from the 4 seed match, Coles trails Icer by 7 PR. Ox trails Lawful Dog by 2 PR, Salmon trails Juggerlaw by 1 PR, and Jim Phillips trails Arthanow by 4 PR. So every one of them is within a handful of PR slots of their opponent this week. So it's all the matchups are just as close as humanly possible, and I'm looking forward to this one. So we'll talk about a couple of these matches in a bit too, but. Yeah, big week here in purple before we jump into the final week that is all cross conference. So you guys want to talk about Teal? I think we still have to talk about that, right?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Teal is much closer across the board. Bees is the leader right now at 13 up. Cult is 7 ahead. Dad Legend is 4. And then Top Last is your cutoff mark at 89 points. Team No Pros here is 5 points out, KGB 10 points out, and AskHS is 29. So mathematically not eliminated, but AskHS on the ropes very much so. This is the first conference we've looked at where I can honestly say, like, Bees is not a guarantee. They're in great position right now, but 13 points is an easy swing to see, depending on what matchups are coming up. Especially since if they do happen to stick in that 1 seed, they're gonna play the BIGs next week. So, come get it. Lotus, what do you think about this lineup here? Where do you think we end up at the end of the season?
I think this is going to be a conference where it will really matter next week who they're facing because of the strength of purple. So I feel like the fact that people are going to be matched with teams in the same rank in the opposite conference really makes me feel like the lower teams will get a huge boost. So I'm expecting us from KGB to do better. I'm expecting NPH to maybe improve a bit. I think Bees will go in. I think the Cult will go in. And I would say my guess right now is NPH and KGB will go in.
All right, wow, that's actually quite a departure from what we were looking at right now. Icon, what do you think? What do you think is the final top four here?
Final top four is going to be Cult, Dad Legend, no pros here, and KGB. It's my
so
actual
you're predicting
cause.
the fall of the Bees.
I'm absolutely predicting the fall of the Bees. I think that Diamond's hero teams have a propensity to pop off for the first 80% of the season, and then I'm reminding you, buddy. And then have players get swept 3 weeks in a row and completely drop out of the playoffs race entirely. So I predict that something like that'll happen. I'm looking at a second championship run for Quaz and Itachi. I think that Tap Blast doesn't have enough women in the league to get up to where they need to go, and I think that Good Boys has some great cross-conference matchups that are going to carry both them and the 500 IQ Mr. Echo Pasca up into the number 3 and 4 playoff spots to round out our teal playoff bracket.
Interesting take. Bees does play Dad Legend this week too, which is again a very important match for Dad Legend to give them the separation. So if they can put the hurt to Bees, that could be a big drop for the Bees this week, as the Cult is playing KGB. Lotus, I know you're predicting a KGB playoff run, but that's going to start this week with the Cult. I don't think they're going to make it easy on you. You guys, Twos is having a great season. Itachi's on the up. Avi versus you is going to be a great match. So I don't know. Do you think? I guess like we got to see Boozosaurus start to get going here. He's 0-6 right now, and he's got a tough match in the Big Ten at the 3 seed, who's 4-2 right now.
Yeah, I still think Booz can make it. Booz is a good player. He's had a rough season, but he's a very solid player. We've played together quite a bit. I expect him to make a comeback at any moment.
It does seem like he's had a few seasons where he started kind of slow. I mean, we're beyond start at this point now that we're 6 weeks in, but we do, we do know he's a very capable player no matter what, and I think
yes,
obviously his PR.
0-4 to 5-4 into All Stars. He had that perfect turnaround. He got tired of losing, and he's just like, I'm just gonna go undefeated the rest of the season, and then he made All Stars.
And that definitely makes his PR wonky too, because like right now he's 351, but that's 6 losses later, which is anywhere between like 15 to 20ish a pop. So he's like a 400 plus PR player that is not represented well in his PR at the moment. So I think anybody who is looking at that record and saying here's 0-6. And he's just going to be someone I walk over, will be sorely disappointed in how hard that match is. So hopefully Big Ted takes that one seriously and doesn't think that he's just going to get a free pass, because I think Booz has a great shot to, if they do make the playoffs, make a little bit of a run himself. So I got to say, I like the Bees to get enough points against Dad Legend to stay relevant, and for their sake, they probably hope that the Cult passes them. So they get the slightly easier matchup going into the final week. So I would say any out of the teams that are not in the playoffs right now, I think NPH has the best shot. to control their own destiny. They're playing Tap Last this week, so if they get the win, I think that puts them into a fantastic spot. And also shout out to Team NPH for all the great new members of the community they've brought in, and I really do hope that their season is a success. It's a success no matter what. They've come in and made a huge impact on THL. But as far as winning is concerned, I would like to see them make the playoffs because it would be a great story.
Yeah, Posca's amazing.
So the last playoff we're going to talk about is Pro.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. It's a very interesting playoff race.
It actually is. Like, it's crazy how close it is. Like, with the weird thing is that nobody what. I have so many question marks about this season, man. Everybody on all of the shows was like FTL and Bad to the Bone is going to be the finals, and us and Bad to the Bone are like, guess we'll just lose. And now look at I'm so confused, man. It's wow. It's a lot, man.
So I think we all did have the Unknown doing pretty well. They are at 17 points ahead. They are, I think, mathematically guaranteed to make it now, because it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 15. Nope. So they're not mathematically. They could get swept completely and not make it there, but they're like on the verge of mathematically in. So barring any sort of crazy mathematical anomaly, they're in, even with a match against Bad to the Bone. So Propane Gang really helped out by Kungmar this season, being just basically great at Hearthstone, and they're playing for the boys this week. And Dr. Boom Shakalaka, we talked about them. They were, I think, hanging out in 6th last week. They got a big win, and now they're 1 point ahead of Tap Last in 4th, who's tied with the other guys. So we took it on the chin, the other guys, last week, and now we are in 5th, which is not great because we were 2nd, and I don't want to prove you guys right by saying how the hell did this team make the playoffs and then have us fall out of the playoffs, but it's tough. Rod Mexo said he won over Pasca and locked it in. So
dude, he's in.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
The Unknown is in. That's good to know. All right, so that means 3 teams. The Unknown, they're in. There are 3 teams that will make the playoffs out of the remaining 7. Who's it going to be, Lotus?
So I made my bet last time, and I'm not convinced how wrong I was. I think the winner of Other Guys versus FTL makes it, whoever it is. I think I'm not sure who the other team would be. This is a really hard week to say. I think it's going to be the Unknown, Propane, FTL. I'm still going to bet on FTL. And
it's me clapping into my microphone.
I think probably Dr. Boom Shakalaka.
Yeah, with Boom and Tap Last playing, I don't see a world where both of those teams make it. It's unlikely with how tight the race is that both of them will get enough points to be able to make it. So yeah, that match is essentially a playoff match at this point, I think. Icon, how do you feel about the remaining teams here?
I think there's 2 that seem to be very safe bets, and then there is 4 among those that seem to be, just whichever way you like your bread buttered, I think it is. So the 2 safe bets that I think I would pick would be the Unknown and Propane Gang. Unknown is just math that I'm going to nod my head and pretend to understand, and Propane Gang is definitely helped out by the success of Kungmar, but seems to have a nice, comfortable position in that 2nd slot. Now, going down to the other 4 teams, It is extremely, extremely close, and every single point is going to matter in this sort of final, these 4 teams dueling for these 2 slots, basically. And so I think the thing that makes it so difficult with a lot of them is that whenever you're if even a single one of these teams was playing against a team that was lower down the rankings or a team that was already locked, it would be a different story. But with every single point, you are denying one of the other direct playoff contenders a spot, and I think that's huge in the Tap Last Boom matchup and the Other Guys versus FTL matchup. If you were to make me put something on paper, I would say Boom and FTL make it as well. I have to vote for my FTL boys. We have had we've had an absolute what's the word, resurgence of stamina recently, and Itachi
Right.
getting a 2-1 over Dirty Mike I think definitely helped. But
it was over Tony
other than
Montana,
that,
but yes.
Tony Montana, yeah, I definitely know who's on your roster. I definitely
Dirty
know
Mike's
that.
on the roster, he just didn't play Itachi.
Yeah, I just forgot which one. Yeah. But yeah, I think I would go the same way as Lotus with it.
I mean, the blow of losing that first match of the week, it hurts. So we definitely did not want to start that way. I am playing Snake tomorrow, so hopefully, I think I'm the next match. I'll have to check our Discord here, but yeah, we got to get going. We got to win at least. We got to win the series, no doubt. But I think winning 4 is important for us to be able to guarantee that like Bad of the Bone can't catch us either. So it's gonna be an interesting fight here. I still believe in us. I still think we've been chatting, discussing decks and stuff, and I think we're ready. But it's it's Hearthstone, man. It can happen. Anybody can lose. Anybody can win.
Best of 3 is a notorious format, for sure.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It's all I've been playing qualifiers and stuff, and it seems like when you keep the same 3 decks throughout the qualifier, it feels like the format is more balanced than every single week picking a new set of decks.
Yeah.
But
And you go down like one match and you're already sweating. Like I think in like best of 5 series you have that sort of longevity where you can afford to like take a couple of losses and then like bounce back, sort of figure out what your game plan is, figure out how your deck's best match up into somebody else, sort of get in your zone. But I think like already getting put on match point as soon as you go down like that first game, I think is huge in best of 3 compared to best of 5, and I think it's something that all of the pro players are feeling this season. I'm definitely happy that we're not playing specialist, but going from like best of 3 shielded specialist to best of 3 shielded conquest is kind of like you think you're out of the tunnel, but like there's still a little bit of work left to go on, and I think
definitely like the format. I like Shielded Conquest itself as a format, but yeah, I think best of 5 would be my preference. But yeah, it's it's everyone's playing the same format. It's not like it's not
yeah, of course.
You can't just sit here and say like, oh well, the formats would cause me to lose. Like we're all playing the same format. So
oh no, yeah, no, we have prep issues that have it's nothing but I would love to see pro in a best of 5 format at some point. I know that it's probably not going to happen because we are meant to emulate the premier formats, and that right now is what Grandmasters is. But I think that best of 5 should be the premier competitive format for Hearthstone, and that the only reason that it's not in a sort of widespread qualifier setting is because of time issues, and that's something that we don't have is time issues. So I would love to see that implemented in some way, shape, or form. But until then, I dream.
Maybe we could set up a THL Grandmasters as like an off-season event. Get three groups of 12 players. Is it 12 or 8?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna volunteer to hold up a sign that says "Free Hong Kong" and then have you guys social ban me for half a year.
Well, we won't social ban you at all first, but then due to pressures, we'll have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
But yeah, that would be cool. I think that maybe it's something we can kick around as an idea. Maybe get like 36 players and try the the Grandmaster format as like a fun off-season event. But that would be kind of cool.
You are good at hosting off-season events.
You know what? Now would be the time to start planning it, right? So that way I don't have to plan it like 4 days before the off-season starts. So
True.
We'll kick it around. We'll kick it around as an idea. But so we are obviously like in classic form here, going like well over an hour. I mean, we started late too. So let's we're gonna do quick hits on the upcoming matches this week. Just kind of, I don't want to say like rush through them, but we will move briskly through them. Shield is universally hated. I don't hate it. Do you mean universally hated among the Grandmasters too? Because like I personally think it's a fun format.
I didn't love it myself.
That's because you're a jerk and you think that like my team's not gonna make the playoffs too. So
true.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I do think your hero team will make the playoffs.
Thank you for taking the safe bet. So, does it just translate to a lot of shaman mirrors? Yeah. I mean, in Shield, it probably does translate to a lot of shaman mirrors.
Yeah.
It does. I agree with Dano. It makes for really interesting lineup planning. It definitely allows you to take chances and bring decks that maybe have like a specific counter that you're expecting someone to bring, and then if they don't have it, you just bury that deck and you don't play it. So it kind of lets you be a little bit more creative. Like I find that I'm more creative with my lineups in Pro and Hero for that matter too than Legacy, just because like when the lists are closed, you want to go with what's the most flexible a lot of the time, and then you play similar classes every week. That's how I feel about it anyway. But let's talk about the matches for this week in Hero Legacy to start with. So big match for Taplast versus SPG. These were all chosen by Lotus as always. Triss versus myself. Myanodon versus Surlos. That's Dad Legend versus DMB. Actually, there's two Dad Legend versus DMBs, and then Lefty is playing Mr. Shads, and Stubbs is Shim Jim versus Ridiculous Hat of the Pod People. So, Icon, just down the list here, all four matches, who wins, and I guess if you got some Ys, go for it.
Sure. So, Triss versus Donde. Oh, I'm gonna vote for Donde because wait, no, this is an upcoming. No, this is an impro. I'm allowed to vote for you. I think that Donde wins this match. Myanodon versus Surlos. I think Myanodon wins. Lefty versus Shads. Oh my gosh, wow. I think Lefty wins. And Shimjim versus Arhat. I think that Shimjim wins. There we go.
All right.
That's what I got.
How about you?
I think. You know what? I think you win this week, Donde. I think you keep SPG alive.
Oh my goodness.
For 1 week.
For 1
I
week.
think.
Okay.
I think Surlos is going to lose to Myanodon. I think Lefty wins. And Shimjim versus Hat is such a hard match. I think this can go both ways. Both are great players. Both are going to bring their best. I really don't know.
I like Shim Jim in this match. I think he's been doing more prep than Arhat, and as a Hero teammate of mine, I've seen he's got some tricks up his sleeve. So I like Shim Jim in that one. Lefty is my Pro teammate, and I believe that he is going to get on track this week too. So I'm picking Lefty in that match. My Anadon Surlos is also my Pro teammate, but let's see here. I think I got to pick my Anadon over there, and then I'm taking myself. Yeah, I'm gonna win. Can't pick against me. That's not fair. Yeah, we got to keep SPG alive. So let's move to Hero. Couple matches there to talk about, 5 specifically. We're going to talk about Shim Jim again. He's playing Omzi this week. We got robbed of the 6-0 matchup because Omzi is so good and decided to pass Blue Spark PR. So that's right. Shim Jim versus Omzi instead of Donde versus Omzi. Snake is playing Desharmo for Dude versus AskHS. Minutemen, Liquidox versus Lawful Dog of the Ugly Mucklings. That's a 3-3 match between two players that I wouldn't even bother looking at the records there. That's just going to be a good matchup. Itachi versus Twos. That's the Cult versus KGB. And then Base versus Pasca. So Pasca, we know, did take a loss in Pro Series, but has a chance to help Team NPH move up the rankings with a game against Base. So Lotus, you get to start us off this time. Who are your 5 winners here?
So I think Omsi climbed to the 1 seed, but he's going to face a really solid player. I think Shimjin can stand his ground and win. I feel like Desharmo versus Snake is such a balanced match. It's another one that's super hard to say. I'm going to give it to Snake, though. I think Snake takes it. I think Liquidox is not going to beat Lawful Dog. And I do think Twos, even though he's going to be sleep deprived, I think he can beat Itachi. I believe in him. And finally, I'm going to give it to Base over Pasca.
Icon?
Alright, so let's Shimjim versus Omzi, hard to argue with 6-0, holy mother. Sneck versus Desharmo, no step on Sneck. Sneck's gonna bite the hand that feeds him, he's gonna win. Liquidox versus Lawful, wow, this is just asking me to rate all of my pro teammates against the other players. Liquidox wins. Itachi wins. Yep, Itachi wins. Wow. Base versus Pasca is a really interesting match. That's really cool. Base being somebody who has like a very high level of technical play, but PR has not historically shown that, and Pasca being the absolute analyst supreme and runner of no pros here. I'm gonna give it to Pasca. I think Pasca is due for a come up. I think he's got a really cool way of approaching things. So going down, Omzi, Snake, Liquidox, Itachi, Pasca.
So I'm gonna go for Shimjim, and I'm not shocking anybody by saying Shimjim wins because he is a good player, and Omzi's getting his first taste of one seed action. I think Shimjim welcomes him with his first loss of the season. I also pick the Danger Noodle over Desharmo. They're playing for a little bit more than Ask HS is right now, and I think the prep will be a little bit stronger there. Liquidox, I got Lawful Dog in that one over Liquidox. Itachi is basically like taking twos and playing on his home court since he's making them play at 8 a.m. So I got to give Itachi the home field advantage. And then I'm going to go with Pasca as well for our fifth match. Base loses rank 18 games with Quest Druid, by the way. Is that an indictment of Base or Quest Druid? I'm not sure.
Or both.
Por que no los dos? So we get two matches in the pivotal series for Pro to talk about. Dirty Mike versus Fuel, which is the other guys versus FTL, and Derivis of Bad to the Bone versus Brushy Tuna of the Unknown. So if Bad to the Bone's going to win, Derivis has got to win, right? Like that's the no doubt here. And then we've already seen the other guys down 3-1 now. So Dirty Mike really needs to win against Fuel, but does he have the juice to get the win? Icon, you're directly involved in game one, but I'll let you lead. What do you think happens in these two matches?
Fuel has some sort of devil pact that he made recently, and I'm not really sure how, because he doesn't really play Hearthstone. I think he's in the middle of selling his house, so he's like doing some really crazy IRL stuff. He's like consistently super, super, super busy, and I think every night before his pro match, he goes downstairs, he like draws a little pentagram, he signs his little blood pact, and then he goes and like sweeps some poor guy. And I think he's gonna probably keep doing it. And frankly, I'm not gonna be complaining. I like Fuel versus Dirty Mick. Derivis versus Brushy Tuna. So looking at these two players, one of these players is an incredibly skilled, absolutely high caliber player that every single pro player should run from, and the other player is Derivis. So all jokes aside, I do think Derivis is like really obviously tell us who he's being subbed out for. This could be a really interesting matchup. Ordinarily I would give it to Derivis because I think records aside he is an incredibly strong player. But Ego Waffle will be playing in his stead. Wow, that's a really interesting name, my guy.
Is Ego Waffle related to Count Waffle?
I mean, I hope he doesn't have the DQ rate of Count Waffles, but other than that, yeah, no, he's definitely a big question mark, but could turn out really well. I think this should be a great match. Brushy Tuna's going to have a great chance to show people what's up with him, for sure.
Lotus, what do you think?
I think I agree. I gotta give the first match to Fuel, and I think Brushy Tuna is going to win over Ego Waffle. I do think Brushy Tuna was also going to be Derivis. He's been having a nut season, so I would have bet on him anyways.
All right, so Ego Waffle is the rank 25 right now. That's pretty good. I mean, it's better than everybody but 24 people, so that's pretty good. Yeah. We don't know how he does in this format. You know, ladder is obviously different than THL and Shield and Conquest, but he knows how to play Hearthstone clearly. So yeah, I think it's gonna be an uphill battle for Brushy Tuna. I'm going to respect the Tuna and say that he gets the win here, and Fuel runs out of gas against Dirty Mike. So Dirty Mike gets the win. The other guys stay alive and make the playoffs, and then I don't have to cry.
Yeah, I mean, the one of the first steps of grief is denial. So I mean, that's all right.
Ouch.
But
I'd rather the 12 step than the 5 step.
is there actually 12 steps? I didn't actually know that.
Oh, only if you like to drink. Speaking of drinking, Boozosaurus plays 2-star Mako in Challenger. They're both 0-1 right now, so you know that they are dying for this win to stay alive in the Swiss format with only 4 weeks of matches. Liquid Ox plays Lawful Dog here as well, so this is a second time Liquid Ox plays Lawful Dog this week. And Lotus Knight, you're playing Skittles. C-Mac plays Excelsior, aka Casey. They're both 0-1. So we've got Liquid, Lawful, Lotus, and Skittles. They're all 1-0 right now, looking like they're in pretty good shape. If you move to 2-0, I would say you have a very strong chance of making the top 8. But if you are dropping to 0-2, I would say it is very unlikely you make the top 8. So who's getting eliminated here, and who is looking to make the cut? Icon, what do you think?
So I think that looking at it right now, Booze versus 2-star Mako is going to be a very close match. Oh, 12 step. Oh, it's funny because Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, teens in America don't confront their drinking problems until like 40 years of age, so we're not really at that stage yet. But looking at it now, I think I would give this to Boozosaurus just slightly. I think they're both very great players, but I think that they both have a lot of knowledge of each other, and I think Booz is going to come out slightly on top. I have to vote for Liquid Ox. I think that he's a very, very, very skilled player. He just needs to actually do work and prep. I like Lotus Knight versus Skittles. That's definitely going to be a really hype match. We should try to get that on stream. And then C-Mac is a... Am I really just voting everything down the left side? Yeah, everybody on the left beats everybody on the right. Easy clap.
What do you think, Lotus?
So we were talking about dynamic duos a few weeks ago, and this is a fight in the middle of one. Booze versus 2-star Mako is super interesting to me. I actually am going to think Booze wins. He has had quite a record this season, but I think he's still a great player, and I can totally see him winning there. I think Liquid Ox is going to take it over Lawful Dog. Me versus Skittles, I can't bet against myself, but I'm looking forward to play him. He did beat me in Heroes, so we'll see what happens there. And C-Mac versus Casey. I'm gonna give this one to Casey. I think he could have won last week against me, but didn't. So I think he has a good chance this week as well.
Could have won against me last week, but didn't is, I think, my favorite analysis of all time.
I mean, it's true. It's true. I feel like he's a good player, but he may.
That's one of the coolest flexes that we've ever had on this show.
So I think I think obviously 2-star and Booz are both great players, but Mako's having the better season as a whole, and I think he might just be feeling the meta a little bit more. So I would go in his direction for the win this week. Lawful vs Liquid it was interesting in one format. I guess it's interesting in another. Lawful Dog, I lean slightly in his favor, so I'm going to go with Lawful there. Lotus, I agree. I think you get the win over Skittles. That should be a very close series, too. And I'm going to go with C-Mac because he's allowed to play Hearthstone right now. So that's my pick for the final match.
True. I was going to make a banned Clark joke as well, but I mean, you seem to have it covered.
So, yeah, you mentioned stream earlier. I did want to... obviously, before we head out, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tavern Talk, which you should definitely tune into because cool. But if you want to tune into some matches, Friday Night Fights, 8 p.m. The match is a Hero Series match between the Big Ten Boozosaurus, and then the 9 p.m. match will be Ron Mexico versus Notorious GHP. So those are two pretty hype matches. Definitely should tune in and check those out, but you should tune in to Tavern Talk first. Chewbacca, speaking of Mako, me versus Mako and Hero this week, who we betting on?
I mean, depends on if you're one of those people who like does the meme from The Office where Kevin's like, my mom always said that if somebody gives you 20-1 odds on anything, you take it. And then like, if this obscure person ever wins the lottery, I'm gonna be a very rich man or whatever, or like actual statistics. I don't know.
I guess my question to Shu would be: Is do you have an agreement where Mako's going to throw?
Yeah.
Wait, no, she was actually kind of good in Hero. Like, he's actually not bad. I always get Legacy Shu confused with Hero Shu. Legacy Shu is like a Monka S, and then like
I'm just saying Shu.
Hero Shu is like an okay champ. So like this he's pretty alright in here.
Hero Shu
Yeah,
sounds
yeah, I
like
was
a
gonna say.
Pokemon, except nothing else.
Dude, look at that. He swept the last two opponents he played. That's actually kind of sick.
I need.
Interesting.
So does that mean like Legacy Shu it like evolves into Hero Shu?
Yeah. There you go.
I like that. And Ron says that Notorious GHB canceled. So rip my dreams. That's not fun. So I guess we need a 9 o'clock match. So for anyone, Legacy Shu is canceled. So I think if anybody out there wants to play on stream now, the 9 o'clock match is open on Friday. So please let myself or Saku know, and we will hook you up with a time slot. So that would be cool. Yeah, do that. So that's everything for the show this evening. Thank you guys for staying with us on the late start and us, talking forever, which we love to do. It does happen here. Fun evening, of course. Anything you guys want to say before we head out, Lotus? I'll let you take the floor.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, is there anything you want to say before we leave?
Thank everyone for tuning in with us. Hope nerfs arrive soon, and this thing stops evolving in such a chaotic way.
I mean, if you're me, all you do when you evolve a Mogu Flesh Shaper is get a 4/4 with taunts, so it's not like that good. Just saying. Salty Icon.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say before we go?
If anybody knows how to make Discord calls work on Streamlabs OBS, please contact me immediately. I am in dire need of help. This is not a test. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
One more thing. Feel free to send any trees you have to Donde's house. He is looking for more trees.
I had to pay $300 to get that one removed. Which I guess is better than it like actually going into my house. Like it didn't crash through my roof, it just hit my roof. It made a really loud noise in the middle of the night and didn't actually break anything but a satellite dish we haven't used in 4 years. So it could be worse.
Plus one tree is better than minus one house, so you know
Very
it's
true.
good math.
And now I have to
side.
rake far fewer leaves than I had to before, so that's kind of cool for me.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Just looking on the bright side. And the bushes that hit, we wanted to remove anyway, so screw those bushes. I don't care about them.
Yeah.
now they're just like squished. But yeah, it was fun. I recommend everyone wake up that way. It was unique. I recommend it once and only once, not more than once. All right, so that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you everyone for tuning in as always, and if you do have a sub to drop on us with Twitch Prime, it is free, of course. We do greatly appreciate it, and will continue to allow us to provide better and more consistent content to your eyes and ears. So please do turn on the notifications so you know when we go live as well. Other than that, we will see you next week. Way to look on the bright side. Do try to look on the bright side. We will see you next week. Good luck to everyone playing your matches this week, and please tune in to Tavern Talk tomorrow and get at us if you want to be streamed not only on Friday but Saturday or Sunday too. We'll try to find some teams to cast you. So let me know. Best of luck, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Have a great night.